Hello and welcome everyone. And on behalf of the staff and the board of EFAC, I want to welcome you all to this Giving Tuesday Lunch and Learn. My name is Matt Giannino and I serve as EFAC's Executive Director. With me today is Mary Kaguru, Country Director and Managing Programming in Kenya. We're so glad you can share this time with us to learn a bit more about EFAC and hear directly from students impacted by our work. Before we get started, I want to share a few housekeeping items. We'll be using the chat throughout today's webinar. There you'll find helpful pieces of information as well as a place to share your thoughts and questions. Closed captioning is also available on today's webinar. Look for the CC icon in your Zoom toolbar to activate it. And lastly, if you hear anything worth sharing today, please feel free to let others know on social media using the hashtag EFACEmpowers. So thank you for that. And Mary, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Matt. Welcome, everyone. The vision for EFAC is to develop leaders and change makers. And we do this by providing an education to employment program for bright, disadvantaged Kenyan youth to foster leadership, and economic opportunities and social progression.
Thanks, Mary. So the question is, why do we do all of this? And there's a few things that are important to note to explain the problems that we're looking to solve in Kenya. Next slide, please. One thing important to note that over a third of Kenyans, or over 18 million people, live in extreme poverty and survive on less than $2 a day. In addition, free public education in Kenya ends at grade 8, and most families can't afford tuition in high school and beyond. As a result, only 40% of children continue their education after 8th grade, and only 11% go to college. Without access to quality education, the cycle of poverty continues for many.
You know, education has been cited as the foundation for economic mobility and the exit from poverty. EFAC has since 2008 provided scholarships so that the financially challenged can access quality education through our 8-year program that starts from high school and provides up to post-secondary education. We ensure that in our program, we have a ratio of 2:1 girls to boys so that we give girls opportunities to participate in the economic development. Because our scholars are drawn from different parts of the country, we have partnered with boarding schools to ensure that they have safe space to study and to be able to concentrate in their studies. The 8-year program is a holistic program providing academic advising, leadership development, personal and professional development, also looking at reproductive health and mental wellness of our scholars. We also have a career preparation and planning sessions with our scholars to ensure that they're succeeding in integrating into the job market.
Over the last 14 years, EFAC has done a lot of work, and the model that we've developed has been proven to be both impactful and transformative. Our innovative approach to supporting the whole student has broken the cycle of poverty for nearly 900 youth and young adults. Some of the outcomes of EFAC's work over the last 14 years include the fact that 100% of our scholars continue their education after high school, compared to approximately 11% nationally. Also, 100% of our EFAC scholars participate in both community service projects and are paired with mentors, which has been extremely helpful as they transition to life after school. And finally, about 87% of our alum are employed within 12 months of graduation.
To understand how effective our model has been, we are going to start by talking to 2 of our scholars tonight. But before we go to that, then we are going to share a video on one of our scholars sharing his transformational journey. He continues to work with EFAC as an employee, and he's also a mentor in his community. So we'll have a video of Sam Amwai.
stay. And so in 2003, I had a very difficult start to my life. I lost my father, biological father, at a very young age. Things became real thick for my mom to raise us and to cater for the bills, to provide for the needs. And so she opted to remarry. It's unfortunate we didn't get along with the stepfather because he was very abusive, both physical and verbal. And so home wasn't a place of peace to stay. And so in 2003, I ran away from home. Life as a street child is not very easy. There are a lot of days the street children go without food because you are absolutely depending on someone to give you cash for you to buy food. It was great relief. So you can just come. This used to be my room when I first came. You can see there are 4 beds. Then we actually had no beds back in 2004. There were only mattresses.
Sam was a very little kid. I think 6, 7 years. He was very special. It was something that drew us to him. You could tell that he really wanted to have a better life, really had big dreams.
Ray is our newest boy in the home. He was just rescued yesterday.
As a young person, Amoy really loved books, really liked to go to school and to study. And I remember, he was nicknamed the professor, who used to seem like he had a plan that he had written in his heart, and he had a script that he had in his heart that he had wanted to follow through, and nothing was going to disrupt him from it. So he was always focused, always remained focused.
And so my desire was always to succeed. Education was important more than anything because it was the only assured way. There's a quote which I greatly believe that when you want something and you're so determined, the universe will conspire to make sure you have it.
We had always wanted to find Amoy's family.
Last year was another magical moment for me because I reconnected with my biological sister after being apart for 14 to 15 years.
I thank God for social media because it is through social media that Amoy's sister was able to find us.
She went to Facebook and searched for my account. And after looking at my photo, the places I've been to, the stories I'm telling on Facebook, she connected. She could recollect the pieces, and she was certain that I'm the brother. Everything I've achieved from when I was in the streets, if I'd never met George, I wouldn't have ended up in the feeding program. I wouldn't have ended up in a children's home. If I didn't go to my primary school and be a good boy, very high academic performance, highly disciplined, probably my deputy head teacher wouldn't have seen the potential in me, and I wouldn't have been in EFAC. Without EFAC, I wouldn't have gotten a good education. And so it means the life I am having today would be a mere illusion.
Well, we hope you found Sam's journey to be inspiring. It's an amazing display of the power of EFAC's model. We'd now like to welcome two current EFAC scholars to speak with Mary about their experiences. In addition to hearing about their EFAC journeys, our guests today will have a chance to ask them questions. So I would like to extend a special welcome to both Harriet and Josephine. Welcome.
Karibu sana, Harriet and Josephine. We'll be very happy for you to share your journeys with our audience today. So can you start by letting us know a little bit about yourself, where you are currently in school and what you're studying?
My name is Josephine. I am a second-year student at KCA University. I am pursuing a Bachelor's of Science in Cybersecurity and Forensics. I am also a peer mentor at EFAC and in EFAC under the work study program. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Harriet Mwangi. I'm a third-year student at the Technical University of Kenya. I'm taking journalism and communication as my undergraduate degree. I'm also a peer mentor with EFAC and I am also a work study currently in the office.
Thank you, Josephine and Harriet. Now, our scholars are drawn from different parts of the country. If you're able to share the map so that you can see where they are located across the country. And I'll start by asking Harriet to describe her hometown, her environment, where she comes from.
I come from a town known as Naivasha, a sub-county known as Naivasha, a small village known as Kabati, which is more of a slum area, very populated. I remember when I was growing up, we were so many children in the village, such that the only school that could accommodate us had almost 116 children thereabout in one class. So yeah, that is roughly where I come from.
Thank you so much, Harriet. Now, to be able to accommodate people like Harriet, to ensure that they have a safe environment, we partner with primary schools. I'll ask Josephine to share a little bit about the school she attended and how that experience was for her, you know, coming from the village and going into a boarding school.
I went to Vanessa Grant Girls School that is located in Rongai, Nakuru County. Our high school was very intense, coming from a village where we knew everyone in the class, you knew your neighbor, to a new environment with new people, and also away from home, away from my mother. That was a very hard transition for me, but also for me, it was also a good thing because boarding school provided me with an invaluable space for personal growth, and it also helped me acquire so many skills, so many life skills. For example, I was able to acquire time management skills and work ethic, and also independence. That is also key for an EFAC student.
Right. That environment actually prepares our scholars to pass examinations. The entrance exams in Kenya for university are quite rigorous. Unlike the SATs in the US, the KCSE exams last a month and the students cover over 12 subjects. Currently, our Form 4 students are preparing to start their exams by next week. And so I'll ask Harriet to simply reflect back a few years ago when you're sitting for your KCSE. What was this experience like for you?
I did my KCSE in 2019. It was a very intense year. Leave alone the month, the whole year was quite intense. It was revision, and it was more like, you know, we are racing against time to get as much content as we can, because also the examination process and the guidelines are very strict. You cannot cheat in any way. So we were really trying to gather as much content as we could. It was day and night studying with the teachers around helping us, and that was all thanks to EFAC, because they took us to very good schools. I am sure I'm talking on behalf of many EFAC scholars who did the same. So yes, it was a very vigorous time. and racing against time, I remember, yes.
Thank you, Harriet, for sharing that. Now, Josephine, over the years, you've been a mentee, been mentored through the EFAC program, and now you're a mentor. Describe briefly the importance of peer mentors at EFAC in your own experience.
The mentorship journey is quite a very personal experience for every EFAC scholar. And personally, I feel like I was able to overcome seemingly difficult situations through help from mentors, especially when, as a young person growing up in a country like Kenya, I feel like people don't understand you as much. And I felt understood and loved. And I also got a lot of social support from mentors. And that helped me be able to love and want to be a mentor at EFAC. And I also, so for EFAC, I also, after the experience of being a mentee and seeing how much someone can impact someone else's life, I wanted so much to be a mentor. And right now I'm currently a peer mentor at EFAC. And I feel like that the training the trainer method helps us be able to grow not only as a person, but also as an organization, because it feels like you get a lot of support from people in the same organization, but also people that have gone through certain situations and are able to help you through such situations.
Oh, thank you, Josephine. Now, both of you are university students and you're doing work study at EFAC office. Josephine, would you reflect on the preparation you have received out of school during workshops and other events that prepare you for the world of work?
Personally, I feel like EFAC has been able to help me know the importance of personal branding through these workshops. As a person and as the future of Kenya, I feel like I'm so prepared in terms of how I've branded myself online. And I also have skills on how to write CVs and also cover letters. I have knowledge on how to manage my emotions, that is emotional intelligence. I also feel like the workshops really prepared me to know what I would expect in a workplace. And also to add on that, I'm a work study at this office, at the EFAC office Kenya. And I feel like that has impacted how I deal with situations in the corporate world. I am able to know processes and also understand the importance of outputs. I am also very prepared in terms of how to deal with protocol and learning the office setup. Other than that, I feel like I am also a confident person because the workshops really emphasize on self-leadership and being transformed to change. And with the knowledge that I have through EFAC and other life experiences, I feel like I am very, very ready for the world of work in terms of how to deal with people and how to deal with situations when they come about. Yeah.
Thank you. Now, besides work study, all students engage in community service to also gain experience. I'll ask Harriet to share experience, what it has been like for her doing community service.
Oh, like Josephine said, when you see impact, you can never get rid of the feeling of, can I be able to impact someone this way? So after our Form 4 exams or high school, we usually have a long break before we join campus. And for me, I remember I volunteered at a local hospital in the occupational therapy section of it, and was able to serve kids who are disadvantaged in one way or another, mentally, physically. And it was such a fulfilling experience for me. Other EFAC scholars did so many other different things all over the country, and we saw the impact. So it really became engraved in me such that after I joined campus, I really needed to serve. I wanted to use my free time to serve and to have an impact on communities and on society as a whole. So I joined a club in school that is called Rotaract. which is under Rotary International. So I spend my time, most of my weekends serving in children's home, in tree planting activities, in various events where I really can make an impact on community. And that is happening for so many other EFAC scholars all over the country in different institutions. Community service has really been engraved in us because we were served as well. And you can see the desire for all EFAC scholars to serve really. Yeah, so it has been an amazing experience seeing the impact I can have personally on society. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Harriet, for sharing that with us. We'd like to invite our participants to engage Harriet through questions this evening. Please enter any questions you may have in the chat. And before we just start the question and answer, I'll ask Harriet and Josephine as closing remarks to this webinar to share your experience in EFAC. Maybe you can share a challenge you have overcome or something that you learned that surprised you. We can start
okay.
with Harriet or Josephine, whoever is ready. Harriet, you can start as well.
Okay, so what I've learned about myself over the years is that after joining EFAC, I learned that I'm good enough. I was encouraged I'm good enough. I was able now to express myself fully. In those workshops, when you're called upon to talk to your mates and to your mentors and to address people, you grow this confidence that you can never get rid of. You personally, I am now able to hold a conversation with someone like Mary Kiguru, which I could never do when I was joining EFAC. I was really shy and afraid, and EFAC has built that confidence in me. I can really be able to express myself. I can negotiate for myself. I can speak out when I need to and be a leader. I am currently a leader in the club, the Rotary Club I'm telling you about. And that has come over time and it has been plowed in me, the confidence and the love for society. So yeah, I never knew, I thought ever I could be that confident enough to lead a group of grown-ups, of adults. So yes, confidence is what has been plowed in me and it is what I've discovered about myself.
Great, Josephine?
For me, I feel like EFAC has equipped me with the tools to be more self-aware. And personally, I have gone through a series of depressive episodes where I feel like I am not good enough, as Harriet said. An EFAC scholar is someone who comes from a very traumatized background. And I feel like the support I received from EFAC with their partnerships with various psychologists and counselors, I've been able to overcome that dark past of mine, and I am able to realize that most of the things that are happening in the world, they happen not because we aren't good enough for good things to happen to us, but as a teaching lesson. And I feel like EFAC has also equipped me with enough knowledge to grow my society. In Kenya, I feel like mental health is something that is rarely talked about, and I do a lot of those walks, mental health walks and other projects. And also with what EFAC has taught me, with a love for community service and giving back to the community, I've been able to find various ways to connect both my passion for technology and community service together. I've been able to work with people who build softwares that are life-changing. And I feel like that is one of the biggest things that EFAC has equipped me with. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Harriet and Josephine. You've really been transformed and really become women that are transforming others' lives. I'll now get back to Matt to go through the questions that we have.
Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Harriet and Josephine. We do have a few questions that are coming in. And let's see. The first one is actually for you, Mary. The question is, how are students selected for EFAC?
Usually our process starts when they are in their last year in primary school. We circulate application forms to primary schools through our partners and through connections on the ground. We then go through the forms, rank them according to need, and then we interview them. Like now we're in the process of organizing interviews next week. The candidates have just done their primary school examination. They're ending tomorrow. Next week we start on interviews. So we interview the the applicants, basically to determine their leadership potential. The need level is already determined through the application form, and then we wait for the results. When the results are the final determining factor.
Yeah, and I understand, Mary, that we've received over 500 applicants for next year, correct?
Oh yes, we have over 500 applications, and we are going to interview quite a number of them by end of next week.
You're going to have a busy next week or two, no doubt. We have another question here from one of our participants. How does the peer mentorship work?
Now, the peer mentorship, all our scholars have gone through this journey, most of them. So like Josephine and Harriet have gone through high school. Harriet is almost finishing post-secondary, and Harriet is midway through the program. So we normally ask our scholars to reflect on what they have learned about themselves and what they would have wanted to know when they started off. How can they share that with somebody else? So they become peer mentors to their fellow scholars. But we also have what we call the Wezesha journey. It's like an empowerment journey where the students are helped to set their own, to have a vision for their own life and to be able to break the vision into manageable goals that they can do right now. So the peer mentors are trained to take the other scholars through this process, to have a vision for your life, to actually now have goals that are achievable, short-term goals, long-term goals, and then they go through this process together. So the peer mentorship program is simply preparing another scholar to help another scholar go through this journey.
Thank you, Mary. The next question that we have is for both Josephine and Harriet. And the question is, what impact has EFAC had in your community?
EFAC has had a great impact on all the communities that they have picked students from, because EFAC scholars join the program, they get the education that they need, they go back, they serve society in so many different ways. Some of our scholars have begun projects like educating the girl child in the villages about their rights, about what they should expect from their parents, from people around them, what they should air out if it ever happens to them. Some of the scholars even start study groups in their area, because as you said, education is the key to everything, and it's the way out of poverty, especially in Kenya. So they go back, they start study groups, they tutor the younger ones in society. And so when you impact one EFAC scholar, you're not just impacting them alone, you're impacting and empowering a whole community. Yes.
Thanks, Harriet. Josephine.
Yeah, for me, where I come from, the community I come from, it's a very young community, but we only share one primary school. And it was very fortunate that 3 of us were taken by EFAC. And the 3 of us, me and my other friends, we go back to that primary school that we were in. And we, personally, I offer computer classes to both the students and the teachers. And for the others, they offer tutoring to those students, and we also act as role models for students that are in those classes. And I feel like EFAC has been a great opportunity for our community, because by empowering us, it empowered everyone else there, in the sense that even parents get to take their children to us. We tutor them and also help them know or maybe learn about themselves through learning how to brand themselves. And yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Josephine. And I think we have time for one last question, and it is a question for both of you. The question from the participants is, what are your ultimate career aspirations? So you're both in school right now. What do you hope to do with this education once you graduate? We can start with you, Harriet.
All right. I am doing journalism and communication as my undergraduate degree currently. My ultimate goal is to start a PR agency. And I love communication and everything to do with communication, because I feel it embodies my personality as a whole. So yeah, my end goal in the end is to open my own PR firm, such that now I can be able to create employment opportunities for PR consultants or anyone around me. Yes.
For me, I am doing an undergraduate in cybersecurity and forensics, and my ultimate career goal is to be a full stack developer, and also be one of those people, okay, very, I mean, I want to be able to offer my services to disadvantaged communities. For example, I want to join these organizations that offer computer coding classes and programming classes to students in marginalized areas, for example, Turkana, the rural parts of Naivasha, and also maybe Western. Yeah.
That's impressive, and I'm sure you're well on your way to getting there. Thanks, Josephine, and thanks, Harriet. We're going to ask one more question, actually, because it's a good one. It just came in, and I think it's more of a question for Mary, and that is, what does scholarship cover for post-secondary or university students? What does that include, Mary?
The scholarship for post-secondary covers tuition and a living stipend for our scholars, basically. Yeah.
So it does cover living expenses in addition to tuition.
Yes.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Josephine and Harriet. This has been fantastic. We're going to start to wrap up here. Just a few things before we close. The last few years have been particularly challenging for learners across the world, especially in Kenya. COVID has disrupted schools and curriculum by limiting access to education and condensed school years to try to play catch up. EFAC staff and scholars have persevered and not only maintained their high standards and excellent performance, but innovated new and impactful programming. EFAC quickly deployed a solution to provide all students with remote access to their curriculum and learning materials while schools were closed. As a result, 100% of EFAC students stayed engaged in learning throughout the pandemic, and 100% returned to schools once they reopened. Over the last couple of years, we've also expanded our programming to include peer mentoring, as we talked about earlier, and workshops on a variety of subjects, including entrepreneurship, employment preparation, reproductive health, and mental wellness. As we look forward to 2023 and welcoming 100 new school scholars in January, and sending 85 scholars to university and continuing the education of over 600 high school and university students, and staying engaged with over 160 alum, and continuing our amazing programming beyond the classroom, we hope we can count on your support. Every dollar donated today on Giving Tuesday supports programs that are a powerful part of the EFAC journey that Harriet and Josephine described. There is a link in the chat for if you'd like to make a contribution to EFAC today. Thank you. I appreciate everyone for joining us today. We hope that not only you learned something about EFAC, but our time together gave you an opportunity to discover a transformative organization worthy of your support. So with that, I would just like to close and again say thank you to Josephine and Harriet, and thank you, Mary, as well as all of our staff who are behind the scenes right now making today's webinar possible. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your Tuesday. Bye, everybody.